Boys, howdy. Howdy. How's everybody doing today? So we're gonna geek out today. We're gonna have a really good time talking about technology. I am definitely a passionate construction scientist and a computer scientist. I think those two fields right now are fundamentally converging, and so it's definitely something that we're going to talk about today. Computer science is the study of computers, their design, their uses for computation, data processing. Construction science is materials, methods, processes, and tools that are used to actually build buildings, underground, horizontal, vertical structures. And historically, we've looked at these two things as being very mutually exclusive. But I'm going to lay out a case today for how those really are no longer mutually exclusive, but fundamentally intertwined with each other. The cloud, it's something we have to always define. It's computing that's available anywhere, anytime, on any device. It's radically changed our lives in so many ways. There's been a lot of resistance, though, in the built environment to adopt cloud technologies that's slowly melting away. Big data is another commonly misused phrase that very few people really understand. In water terms, it's Niagara Falls. It's a bunch of water moving really fast from a bunch of different sources. Except in a big data system, we could tell you where the water's coming from, where it's going to, and most importantly, what it all means. Big data delivers enormous amounts of meaning to seemingly meaningless piles of information. In the built environment, in buildings and construction, for years we've collected reams of data that's sat in paper folders and binders and even in disparate folder structures that were never really used to help make better decisions about how we build our buildings, how we build our roads, and how we actually operate them. And then machine learning. This is Arthur Lee Samuel, one of my personal heroes. He taught a machine how to play itself in checkers. He knew it'd be impossible to program every possible checkers move. And so he taught a machine to play itself over and over and over and over and over again in checkers until he learned how to actually win a checkers game, and it beat the world checkers champion. Really interesting systems in the built environment like smart video are actually combining all of these technologies right now to be able to analyze these piles of information that have been sitting around for decades in the built environment. Photos, videos, unstructured text, all sitting there waiting to have meaning pulled out of them. Smart video actually has an artificial intelligence engine that will learn all the objects in a building and in a job site and can automatically tell you what somebody's doing. Are they conducting unsafe activities? Is that a backhoe? Is it an earth mover? So that people don't have to tag elements in photos. More importantly, it can actually help you predict what's going on a job site and hopefully prevent a death or an injury like actually happened here at Kyle Field when it was under construction. So there's two types of construction tech we really have to follow, and it's really challenging for those of us in the computing and construction science fields. There's the tech that goes into buildings, that's building tech. So new thermostats, new types of concrete, new types of structural material. And then there's management tech. That's the technology that we use to actually build the building itself. And so unfortunately, as technologists in the construction space, we have to follow both of these all the time. Now, we surveyed thousands of construction companies, and we asked them, what technology are you actually experimenting with? And I was really pleased to see a lot of my favorite topics on here, of which we're going to talk about today. Drones, scanners, printers, virtual and augmented reality, wearable devices, and more. Wearables are really in use now. That's actually me in the middle. Yes, I was not exactly being the safest driver that day. I had my Google glasses on. I also had my Apple Watch on. I've got it on right now. Now, I'm going to say there's a few rules on wearables that we really need to follow. We really need to make sure that they actually have some type of biological interface. Otherwise, it's just strapping a computer on your body. So if you take a laptop and you actually put straps on it, put it on your back, that does not make it a wearable. It makes it a strap top, right? This, unfortunately, or fortunately for us, tells us everything about our bodies. Unfortunately for some, fortunately for others. This watch will tell you your heart rate. In fact, in the last couple of weeks, a girl credited her Fitbit with saving her life. It actually detected she had a heart problem. The doctor pulled the data and it saved her life. And so wearables are for real. People are actually using them. 10% of construction companies are already using wearables on the job site to track worker health. There's three categories we have to follow, though. There's visual, sensing, and tactile.
Tactile really augment your sense of touch. These are BearTech gloves. They have sensor arrays inside the gloves so you can control a computer without taking your gloves off. It's very important for us in the built environment. Really good tactile wearables actually have haptic motors that give you feedback when you touch things that aren't actually there. A lot of your phones have haptic motors underneath the screens. Sensing wearables sense us and the world around us. So you can see this is Leap Motion. We've been using Leap Motion a lot in our research and development lab. We use it to bring our hands into virtual reality. So when reviewing construction buildings, and I'll show you this later, you can actually see your hands in front of you inside of VR. That's called mixed reality. And we also use the Thalmic Labs MyoArm band, which reads, because your elbow is connected to your hand bone, it can actually read all your muscle movement in your arm, and it'll tell you what your hands are doing. These are pretty fun unless you're a big talker like me with your hand talking, and they can actually inadvertently control your computer while you're talking. And then visual wearables, which is by far my area of passion. We've done enormous amounts of research in augmented and virtual reality. Virtual reality is the pursuit of presence and mobility. Now, Oculus is definitively, for now, the leader in this space. The Gear VR and the Rift have done incredible things for us in VR. We've built apps for these from the first day that they were released. And their objective is to make you forget about reality. Now, if you have children or if you're a gamer, this should scare you because you don't want to completely lose touch with reality. But they do want you to get this one major thing. Feeling. They want you to feel what it feels like to walk into a building. They want you to feel what it feels like to have a dinosaur chase you down the hallway like happened to me when I was at the first Oculus conference. It scared I knew dinosaurs weren't real. It scared the heck out of me. I have a minor fear of heights, so it put me on a cliff and I had to look over and I backed away inside of VR. I had the feeling, and that helps us make better decisions in building. This is our prototype app we built in early days, and we actually updated it recently for Oculus Rift for builders to review what they're going to build before they build it. You see, we want to solve a major problem we have in building, and that is that we screw up a lot. There's a lot of problems. There's things that don't work, and you don't really find that out until you start building the building. So what we did here is we actually identified the ability to review what physically wasn't going to work, and then use your hands inside of virtual reality to experience that building, to peel wall layers away, to review how it's built, and to hopefully take someone with a lot of experience and help them make better decisions and prevent mistakes. So much of what we do in technology is about mistake prevention. We want to stop human error, ideally. That's what self-driving cars are all about too, because people stink at driving, and we want to stop human error. So there's some really interesting things that we're doing inside of VR with manipulation of walls, wall sections, reviewing points of clash, even bringing data elements out of the building model. In this case, we mimicked some of the Minority Report gestures so we could wind forward and backwards in time inside of virtual reality so that people could look at what it would actually look like for something to get built. Believe it or not, when you look at a schedule on a Gantt chart and then you walk into a building and watch it get built, those are two completely different experiences. Experience and feeling delivers better schedules, better models, and ultimately better buildings that we live in. You should all care about this because you all live in buildings. Well, hopefully you all live in buildings, right? And we had a student here at Texas A&M when I was a student that lived on the golf course. So if that's one of you here, I understand. We'll talk later about what golf course living is like. But since we all live in buildings, we have to be concerned about their safety and their structure. This is the Daiquiri Smart Helmet. This takes it to a new level. See, augmented reality is not exactly like virtual reality. Augmented reality still allows you to see the world around you, so you don't forget about the real world. You're still in the real world. Daiquiri's done some very interesting things with industrial augmented reality that we've been following very closely because we've been doing something similar. We've been using the iPad to conduct augmented reality and do things like you're seeing right now, laying arrows on the ground where you're supposed to walk, highlighting objects you're supposed to remove. Daiquiri's trying to take it out of the tablet form that we've been working in and actually bringing it to a wearable form so you can see what you're supposed to replace, pull up the manual, pull up the video. Augmented reality holds huge promise for us in the industrial trades, in construction, engineering, architecture. Even more exciting is the work that Trimble and HoloLens are doing. Now, I'm a hardcore Minecraft fan, so I'm super excited about that bottom left frame where you can actually map your Minecraft world onto your living room furniture, which, by the way, will lead to a lot of broken furniture. But I'm really excited about what they're doing here in converging physical models with the real world. They're bringing windows onto your head so you can augment everything you see with virtual data, and it's very, very, very exciting. Of course, the most exciting for me is what Magic Leap is doing. This is their vision of the world of the future, the very near future, by the way. So you can see reading your email will not involve a computer, just you grabbing something out of the air. Navigating a file structure will be completely different. And the really neat thing about Magic Leap, as opposed to HoloLens, as opposed to Daiquiri, those are transparent lenses in front of your eyes. You have to focus near field and far field. It actually gives you a little headache. I've worn these devices, and you can only wear them for about an hour or 2 hours. Your eyes start hurting. The cool thing about Magic Leap is that it's actually retinal projection. So it projects a light field through your cornea onto your retinal wall. So you're not actually focusing on two objects simultaneously. I've had the pleasure of meeting with all three companies and reviewing their technology. I can tell you Magic Leap will result in the replacement of all of our TVs, monitors. In fact, there's a lot of tech companies promising to get rid of all of their computer monitors next year, every one of them, because we won't need them. All of these technologies depend on computer vision. This is a new computer vision system by Leica Geosystems. It's a backpack that you put on, and you can walk around a building and scan the entire space into a highly accurate 3D model just by walking around. I always say this is a good job for interns. But why would you use people for a job like this when you can use a machine? I have a whole fleet of drones we conduct R&D with at our headquarters. We've had a lot of fun. I'll be honest, they're a lot of fun to fly. My very first drone was a small helicopter. Then we went up to the Parrots. Now we're at the DJI Phantom 4. Drones hold enormous promise for us. I'm super excited about the latest drone, the Phantom 4. We've been writing software for this and the Phantom 3 for the last couple of years. It delivers something that I've always wanted: autonomous flight, object recognition, the ability for it to automatically route around objects, because it turns out people aren't great at flying these either. They're not great at driving. They're also not great at flying drones. Drones are actually much better at flying themselves. And the super exciting thing for construction about the Phantom 4 is that you can actually automatically recognize objects, have the drone follow those people. So if you have a troublesome worker, you could actually have a drone follow them all day long. That doesn't sound like Big Brother, though, does it? It can also scan, and we've been using the heck out of drones for scanning. This is what Pix4D has been doing. They merged 19 different data sets just using 6,500 images of a 1,000-year-old castle. And in about 6 hours, we're able to produce a 5mm accuracy 3D model of this 1,000-year-old castle just using consumer-grade drones and cameras. Truly amazing technology. 95 million points, and it allows you to do some pretty awesome X-ray walkthroughs like this. This castle, before this date, had never had an as-built developed. So super exciting. Now, if you don't know the built environment, this is revolutionary technology. The ability to not have to pull a tape measure and a piece of string out to figure out how big a space is, what you're going to do with it, how you're going to remodel it. 3D scanning, computer vision, and drones deliver so much for us in the built environment. When the bridges collapsed, I-35 bridge in Minneapolis a few years ago, St. Paul area, that was a devastating moment that could have been prevented by effective scanning and bridge inspection. We can prevent deaths. We can prevent mistakes using this technology. We can also make construction and building much more profitable, much more affordable, delivering what we all want: affordable housing, right? We talk about housing affordability all the time. Between this technology and the next I'm going to show you, we can deliver huge returns. This is our test in downtown Bryan using our Phantom 3 Pro, Pix4D, a bunch of our editing software. The really exciting part is we actually took this produced 3D model and we put it inside of our augmented reality software. So when you point the AR software at the satellite image, it automatically brings up the aerial render directly on the paper and allows you to move the paper around with your hands and manipulate the model. This is the convergence of physical and digital. That's what excites me so much. Augmented reality was the very first time that I, as a computer scientist, got to touch and interact my digital product. Since I was 11, I've been building intangible product. And once we got involved in augmented reality, I was able to actually physically interact with a digital product. It changed my life in a big way. They're taking photogrammetry far beyond what we're doing, though. This is a new 3D model that was just produced in Philadelphia, just using pictures. These are highly accurate 3D models, interactive 3D models of entire cities that are being automatically produced by software and mathematics. So for the math majors in the room, we still need you very, very, very much. This is a 3D model of that statue produced from drone-based footage. Incredible, incredible product. SkyCatch, though, is the ultimate solution for us in the built space. It allows you to define an area by going into a web browser. You just place the box on your job site. The drone takes off, and it scans the job site all day long. You're saying drones only last 20 minutes. You're right. When it runs out of battery, it pilots back to its box, changes its own battery, and takes off again. This allows us to actively scan and monitor the job site all day long, looking for safety issues, using software like I showed you earlier that automatically evaluates photos and videos for safety problems, profitability, percent complete, really critical problems to us in the built environment. Buildings cost a lot more than they should, and they're not as safe as they could be because of a lack of adoption of technology, and this will change the way that we operate. You can see there it swapped its own battery out. But all of this eventually lands at 3D printing. All of this lands at 3D printing. We're printing with these right now in our headquarters. Stereolithography printers, metal printers, plastic printers. You can even print wiring. There was even a hydraulic robot, not in our office, that was printed and walked right off the printer. That's possible now. But what's more exciting to us is mobile technologies like this. It's currently in Kickstarter that allows you to use your phone as a 3D printer. The light actually from the phone will generate and harden plastic so that you can actually pull a plastic print directly off of your phone screen. But beyond that, this is where we're really headed. The printing of entire buildings. These were done in China. Each building took about 2 hours to print. It's called concrete additive printing. It's a giant 3-axis printer that allows you to pump concrete into structurally supported walls. I always have to tell people it goes way beyond this. You can actually print ductwork, conduit, and wiring directly into these as well. This changes everything. We're talking about the ability to virtually design a house. Use augmented and virtual reality to go on site. Use your drone to visualize it on a dirt lot. Then bring the printer on site and print your home. This changes everything about the way we live, the way we grow, the way we expand as a society, and the way we house 10 billion people. We're even printing bridges. This is a bridge 3D printing project going on in the Netherlands right now by MX3D. Changes everything. So what can you do? Make sure that innovators, not naysayers, are in charge of tech, and be a tinkerer. Play with this stuff. Thanks for your time today. Appreciate you.